of Moidan Ilfanecha that we speak about in Alakai Neshama, and that is the level of Haidah, where he accepts and admits the approach and the view of Hashem that the true Yesh is above, and down here it's everything is ayin, is insignificant, and this leads eventually to the height and the ultimate level, the level of davening, Shemin Esrei, which is the level of bracha. Bracha is the level of Amshacha Begilui, that this admitting, though it's something that is beyond our comprehension, so bracha becomes a level of Gilui. Shemin Esrei is where it enters us in the way that it does relate to us. In between, we said, is the level of Ahava, Ve'ahavta Hashem Elokecha, the Midas. Just like the Midas are in between Malchus and Bina, the same thing, the Midas in davening, the level of Ahavta, which the Mid of Chesed is called all the levels of Chagas, that is the connector that brings us over from a state of Haidah to a state of Bracha. So Ava is the intermediary. Now we're going to explain how this is so, how we attain the Ava, and so on. So again, we're holding the second page, bottom of the page is Gimel. To be able to arrive at the level of Allah Hashem, it's through contemplating what it says immediately after the pasuk V'ahavta. What do we say after V'ahavta Hashem Elokecha b'chol vavcha b'chol nafsha b'chol meidecha? It says V'hoyu advarim ha'ela asher anochi mitzavcha hayom. So by thinking and contemplating on what it says, Asher anochi mitzavcha hayom, that will bring us to a level of Ava. The level of I, who I am, that we always speak about by Aseres HaDibros, says Anochi Avai Elokecha. Anochi is Hashem's very essence. The level of I of Hashem that is beyond any name. Where and how can we have that Anochi that is Hayom today, Hainu Ba'olam Hazeh Dafke, specifically in this world, do we have that type of connection with Anochi? Sharei Ba'olam Haba, in the world to come, Rak Ha'orah B'lvad, top of page 234, it's only a ray of Hashem, U'Ba'olam Hazeh Hu Atzmos, and in this world we get Hashem's essence, the level of Anochi. Shalachein Amr, for this reason, Chazal said, it is greater one moment, 1 hour of tshuva and good deeds and mitzvahs in this world than the entire life of Olam Haba. Now, in general, we talk about this difference between now being the level of Atzmos and the Olam Haba being just a Ha'ara. Usually we speak about the difference in this world and Gan Eden. But over here in this Maimer, he's going to bring in Olam Haba, even includes Mashiach's times and even Tchias HaMesim, as he will explain. Second line from the top, V'hinei HaKavana B'Olam Haba Kan, the meaning when it says over here Olam Haba. It's not just referring to the level of Gan Eden. That we say about Gan Eden is only a ray of the Eibishter. It's not the essence of the Eibishter we could have over here. But rather, when it says that it's greater 1 hour, 1 moment of tshuva ma'astev in this world more than the whole Olam Haba, it's also referring to Mashiach's times and also referring to Tchias HaMesim. Also then, it's only a revelation of a ray of Hashem, as the Maimer will explain. With this, the Tzemach Tzedek explains in his notes that we said on the Maimer of Tzim Mishtipad of the Alter Rebbe, what says in the Gemara Al Pasuk V'Giu Shon Masha Toimar Ein Lemam Chayfetz. It says in the Pasuk that there will arrive years when they will say that I have no desire in them, meaning there's no delight, there's no enjoyment. That's not the real thing. And Gemara says, what's this pasuk referring to? Elu Yemois HaMashiach, these are the days of Mashiach. So the question is, days of Mashiach is a day she'ein b'hem chayfetz, there's no desire, there's no delight. The Lechura in the movement seemingly it's not understood that it be a Mashiach Yagili Atzum in the coming of Mashiach will be a powerful revelation. Like it says when Niklik that the glory of Hashem will become revealed, the role called Basar Yachtav, and all flesh will see together. Kipi Avaydiber at the mouth of Hashem spoke. Veich Aimer Al Yamim Elo Hashem Bem Chayfetz Hazi called the days of Mashiach days of no desire, of no delight, and so on. But the explanation behind this is even the revelation during Mashiach's times and Tchias HaMeisim, though it's a powerful revelation, even the revelation in Gan Eden, where the neshamas do not have the constrictions of this world, do not have the constrictions of the body, they have a full revelation of godliness. Still in all, that revelation of godliness that the neshamas perceive and receive in Gan Eden are incomparable to the revelation that's going to be when Mashiach comes. Still in all, that revelation of Olam Haba is only considered a ray, as opposed to what we said nowadays as a noichi mitzav chayim, I, Hashem's essence. What does it mean that's only a ray of Hashem? Sha'agilu b'tchias ha'meisim hu mebchinas shmoi hagadol. The revelation tchias ha'meisim is from His great name. So the fact that it's great, that means it's totally beyond Seder Ishtalshlus. Often when we use the term Shmoi HaGadol, it's talking about Oirin Saf Shalifnei HaTzimtzum. That's why it's called not just shame. Shame alone goes on Malchus. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchus Elon Vod. Shmoi HaGadol, that's talking about the Oir Shalifnei HaTzimtzum. Shalachein Hu Ramayla Magilu de Gan Eden. Because of that, it's higher than the revelation of Gan Eden. Because it's such a great revelation of Shmoi HaGadol. The operative word is, it's still a name. And since it's only a name, we know this throughout Chassidus, that a name is not the essence. A name is only a revelation. It's only a ray. So even though Mashiach's times it will be an incomparably higher revelation, it will be Shmoi HaGadol, but it's still shame. It's still the name, and still it's only ha'ara. But only through fulfilling mitzvahs in this world, comes on the level of I who I am, the level of Hashem that's beyond any type of name or description, and beyond any type of ray. So now the Rebbe adds, so what Mashiach's time is not in this whole equation of what we accomplished in mitzvahs. So he says, no. This that we draw down now, this essential thing that we bring down now, the revelation of Anoichi, Misha Anoichi, will be when Mashiach comes. So the Rebbe is going to explain that means that there's two aspects and two periods of Mashiach's times. There's the Shmoi HaGadol, which is still only a ray, and then there's the revelation of the essence that we are accomplishing now, Anoich Mitzav Chayoim, that's not revealed to us. That Anoichi that we are doing now will be revealed when Mashiach comes. The Rebbe goes on to say this means that when Mashiach comes, there'll be two levels. The first level, the first stage of Mashiach's times, it's a revelation of His great name. And as far as that's concerned, that's what we say, that our life in this world, our Torah mitzvahs in this world, is beyond the revelation of His great name, because that's only a name, that's only a ray, and the mitzvahs is Hashem's essence. And the second level of Mashiach's time, which is Gala Hamshachas Ha'atzmus Shemamshich Ma'idemais HaMitzvahs B'Olam Hazeh. In addition to the great name, there will be another period when there will be revealed what we did here with the drawing down of Hashem's essence, that now it's not visible. That drawing down of Hashem's essence that we're doing now will become revealed in a second point during Mashiach's times. The Ata B'Olam Hazeh Hu Behelim, now in this world it's concealed. U'la'asid yeh begilui, and in the future it will be revealed. So the Rebbe goes on to explain this further. The first level the level of Shmoi HaGadol, a level of array that it's not comparable to the Torah mitzvahs now. Hu inyan olam haba mitzad atzmoi, hain mitzad etzemis havusoi. This is the world to come as it is on its own, before anything is added to make it and improve it. It's the very nature of olam haba itself. The second aspect of the world to come, or the second aspect of Mashiach's times, is through mitzvahs, which is the drawing down of Hashem's essence, and now it's concealed, in the future it's going to be revealed. So a little bit similar to the idea that Chassidus brings down, that even though Adam HaRishon was placed in Gan Eden, but he was placed there la'avda u'lashamra, to work it and to guard it, which means he needed to improve on Gan Eden and bring into Gan Eden greater things than Gan Eden had on its own. In a similar vein, there's Olam Haba on its own, which is Shmoi HaGadol, his great name, a very high level, but still only a ray. And then the revelation that's going to come from our Torah mitzvahs that we're doing now, that's our revelation of Hashem's essence, that's higher than the level of Olam Haba on its own. These two levels, the level of Hashem's great name of Olam Haba on its own, versus the revelation that's going to come from mitzvahs, these will take place at two distinct times. Initially will be the first level, and afterwards will take place the second level. In light of this, we need to explain, what did the Chazal mean when they said it's greater, 1 moment or 1 hour in Shuvim, Maisim Tovim in this world, from all the life of the world to come? Hakavona b'olam haba, what does it mean, the world to come? He loirak al Gan Eden. It doesn't just refer to Gan Eden that we already established. Gan Eden is for sure only a ha'ara, it's yosh v'nenim, is a vashchina, it's only a ray of the shchina over there. Elam gam al tchias ha'mesim. It's also referring to tchias ha'mesim. Shagam tchias ha'mesim nichlol ba'olam haba. As we started off at the beginning, that even tchias ha'mesim is included in olam haba, because so now he's going to prove. How do you know? Maybe, perhaps, when it said the original Maimer Chazal, it's not even talking about Mashiach's times. It's only talking about Olam Haba and Gan Eden. So the Rebbe is going to bring the classic proof. This statement, Kol Yisrael Yesh Lem Chel Olam Haba, is part of a complete Mishnah. We say it in introduction to Pirkei Avos, it's only part of the Mishnah, but it's part of an entire Mishnah, that from the end of the Mishnah, you could see the meaning of the beginning of the Mishnah. How do you know that Chias HaMesim is also included in Olam Haba? Mash'amru Mishnah, from where it says in the Mishnah in Perik Chelik in Sanhedrin, Kol Yisrael Yesh Lem Chelik Olam Haba, every Yid has a portion in the world to come. And the following do not have a portion to the world to come. Someone that denies Tchias HaMesim. So someone that denies that, he doesn't have a part in the world to come. So the Gemara goes on that Mishnah in Sanhedrin. The Gemara says, it's explained in the Gemara, who kafar b'Tchias HaMesim, since this person denied Tchias HaMesim, therefore therefore he will not have a portion in Tchias HaMesim. All of the measures of Hashem, all of Hashem's consequences and so on, are measure for measure. So therefore, the denial of Tchias HaMesim causes him to forfeit Tchias HaMesim. So what do we see from that? That means, obviously, so we see that Tchias HaMesim is called the world to come. Not just that the world to come is going on Gan Eden, because if, when it says the world Olam Haba is just going on Gan Eden, so then what does the Gemara mean that he denied Tchias HaMesim he forfeited Gan Eden. It doesn't make any sense. So we see Olam Haba is referring to Tchias HaMeisim. So the same thing when it says Kol Yisrael that Yafa Sha'achas B'tshuva Ma'asim Tovim B'Olam Hazam Kol Chai Olam Haba. It's also referring to that it's greater and better than even the level of Tchias HaMeisim. So, what does it mean? But which level of Olam Haba? We just now finished saying that there's two levels in Olam Haba, or there's two levels of not Olam Haba but Tchias HaMeisim. There is the level, the first stage, that's Shemoi HaGadol, but then there's Hashem's very essence. On Hashem's very essence, you cannot say Yofa Shoach B'tshuva Ma'asim Tovim Mikol Chai Olam Haba. So that he says you're right. He says in the parentheses, Al Shebemishna Shama Kavon Al Madrega Aleph Shebetchias HaMeisim. In the Mishnah over there, the intention is the first level of Tchias HaMeisim. Sheraki Nikras V'Shem Olam Haba. That first level of Tchias HaMeisim only, it is called the world to come. And therefore, when it says that it's greater, it's talking about that our mitzvahs are greater than the Shemoi HaGadol part of Tchias HaMeisim, because that's the part that's called Olam Haba. The next stage, it's a revelation of the mitzvahs we're doing now. It's the identical level. It's not possible to say that's greater than it. So concluding back to what we started at the beginning of the Ois, Vizel, last two lines on the page. Vizel Sha'amru, this is what Chazal said. Yafa chulu mikol chayil haba. It is greater, the Tshuva Ma'asim Tovim in this world from the entire life of the world to come. Why does it say mikol chayil haba? So the Rebbe has a very interesting diuk. All levels of Olam Haba, Shakavana B'Teves Koil, Hula Klolos Inyan Chayil Haba Gam Tchias HaMeisim. That the word Koil Chayil Haba means to include not just Gan Eden, not just the days of Mashiach, but even Tchias HaMeisim. Why is that so? V'hainu l'fisha gam hagilu shebetchias HaMeisim hurak l'b'chinas shmoi hagadol b'vad, top of page 235, that even the revelation by Tchias HaMeisim is only from his great name, and the name is only Ha'ara, whereas nowadays we have the Anoichi B'tzavcha Yom, Hashem's essence. V'lachein yofa shoach b'tshuva ma'asim tovim b'olam hazeh v'sha yom b'olam hazeh am shochs ha'atzmos. Because now in this world we're drawing down Hashem's very essence. El sha'achshav hu behelim. At the present, it's concealed. But the revelation of that Anoichi Mitzavcha Yom, that will be revealed when Mashiach comes. But when the B'chinas Abeis Kanal, the second level, the second stage. So what does this have to do to what he said in the beginning? He said in the beginning, we need to have love to connect, Ava, to connect between Haidah and Bracha. And the contemplation, the meditation, the Isbonus that brings us to Ava is the fact that Anoichi Mitzavcha Hayom, that we have Hashem's essence now in Torah mitzvahs. V'hinei, third line from the top of the page. When a person meditates on the fact and contemplates that all the general revelations of Olam Haba, even Gan Eden and Tchias HaMeisim, is only a ray. And only through fulfilling the mitzvahs in this world, it's drawing down Hashem's essence. Through that you'll come to love Hashem with all your heart, with all your soul, because you will see the greatness and the closeness that Hashem has delivered to us and given to us with the Torah mitzvahs. So we love Him so much and we want to do the Torah mitzvahs because of that. And that Ava becomes the connector. Through the love, that's the intermediary between the level of Haidah to the level of Bracha. He will reach from initially being just in a way of doing things without understanding to the level of that's being drawn down, that's something that is perceived and comprehended. That's the goal and the purpose of the davening. Say that avoida the avo bracha, that's the general order of the avoida. First there is calls man shan sham b'kirbi nilfanacha, the level of Haidah. Then there's Kriyashma, which is the level of Ava. Until we reach Shemon Esrei, the pinnacle, the heights of everything is a bracha. Through this, Nasis Aliyas HaNeshama V'Mayla El Yoyne Yoyser M'Kmei Shahoysi Ridas L'Mata. This was the original point, that the Neshama, by descending down here below, it's going up to even a higher level even than before Tahirahi. And Tahirahi, we said, is the level of Tehira Ilah. That through this level it reaches all the way even higher than Tehira Ilah, even higher than the earnest of Shefnat Tzimtzum. So therefore the descent is for the sake of a greater ascent than it was prior to all of that. Ois Dalet. All of this, the Haidah and Ava and Bracha, that's the way it's supposed to be, the descent of the Neshama into the world, and then it reaches a greater ascent. But if things do not work out that way, if a person takes the wrong path, concerning this it says, ציון במשפט תפדה ושבי בצדקה, ציon will be redeemed with mishpat, and Shaveh will be with tzedakah. The idea behind this is ציון hu lashon simon. ציon means a mark. In Hebrew, you get marks on your test. It's called tziyunim. A tziyun is a sign. It's an indication. The koyal etzem neshama. Tziyun is referring to the essence of a yid's neshama, like we'll soon explain. Sha'avodas etzem neshama hi berusa deliba shalamayla metam v'das. The avoid of the essence of the soul is the will of the heart that's beyond reason, understanding. It's a super rational level. Not like the b'chol avavcha, b'chol nafshcha that we're saying we're working our way up. First we start that we admit. That's the lamata metam vadas, non-comprehensible. Then we go to a level of contemplation. Then we go to a level of revelation of davening. Here we're talking about a connection to Hashem that's the core will of the heart. That's an essential connection that's beyond reason completely. And that is the third love that we talked about in Krishma. That's the love with all your might that Chassidus always talks about. The b'chol meidecha means without limitations, because it's coming from the essence that has no limitations as well. It's not limited by understanding. The fact that the essence of the soul is called a tziyun, from the word, it's a sign, that part of that is that the essence of the soul is so selfless and so without ego that it's only a sign for something great and spiritual. It transcends any types of limitations. It transcends any type of the limitations of intellect, the limitations of action, and so on and so forth. So now, but what is it a sign for? Once we say it's completely without significance of its own, what is it a sign for? We cannot say that the tziyun of the neshama is a sign for lights and revelations of godliness. Because a sign is always something that's greater than it. Let's say you have a sign that says X amount of miles till you reach this in the city. So the sign says the name of the city. The sign is the city? No, it's completely insignificant in comparison to the city. So if you say the neshama is a sign for something greater, it has no significance of its own in comparison to something greater, you cannot be talking about the Oiris and Giluyim, because when it talks about Hashem's lights and revelations, that you can't call the neshama a sign for it, because that is the level of the neshama, and even higher. The neshama is even higher than that. So he says, since the neshamas arose in Hashem's thought, and therefore they're even higher than malachim. Malachim came from the Asara Amaris, from Hashem's speech, and the neshamas came from his thought. It's impossible to say that the neshamas is a sign for lights and revelations. Elam, what could they be a siman for? Siman ala atzmus. They are a sign on Hashem's essence. This means through the love with all your might. That's beyond reason and understanding. There becomes the level of the drawing down of Hashem's essence that's totally beyond all types of levels of chain descent, because otherwise it wouldn't be able to be called a level of a simon. We'll stop over here.